The parable of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Once, during the times of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, a stranger came to a village on the outskirts of the Arabian Peninsula. This man was a Christian monk, known for his wisdom and righteousness. He had decided to visit these lands to find refuge and continue his spiritual practices away from the distractions of the world. When the stranger approached the village, he saw that the residents were engaged in arduous physical labor under the scorching sun. Some were plowing the fields, others were tending to the palm groves, and some were engaged in construction work. The monk was struck by the intense toil of the common people. Amidst this bustling activity, he noticed a young man sitting in the shade of a palm tree, gazing contemplatively into the distance. Approaching him, the monk greeted the youth and asked, "Tell me, young man, why are you sitting here idly while all your tribesmen toil in the fields under the burning sun?" The youth responded respectfully, "Esteemed stranger, I am not sitting idly, but rather reflecting on the greatness of the Almighty Allah and His predetermination. I believe that Allah provides for our sustenance and well-being, and we must only strive and rely on His will." The monk was impressed by the youth's response and asked further, "But should you not be laboring alongside the others to earn the blessings of Allah?" The youth wisely replied, "Respected stranger, I understand your perplexity. The thing is, I have already completed my quota of work for the day, and now I am dedicating time to contemplating the Creator. I believe that Allah will appreciate my efforts and provide me with all that I need for life. Therefore, there is no need to exhaust myself beyond measure." The monk was deeply impressed by the youth's response and realized that he was not just an ordinary person, but one endowed with wisdom from above. He continued his inquiries. "Tell me, young man, where does your deep understanding of things come from? After all, you are still very young." The young man answered, "Respected stranger, my mentor is the Prophet Muhammad himself. May the blessings of Allah be upon him. He teaches us that Allah created man, endowed him with reason, and placed upon him the responsibility for his actions. Therefore, we must strive to seek the truth, perform righteous deeds, and rely on His will. Only in this lies true happiness and well-being." The monk was struck by the young man's words and asked, "So, you are a follower of the Prophet Muhammad? Tell me about him and his teachings." The young man enthusiastically told the monk about the life and preachings of the Prophet Muhammad. May the blessings of Allah be upon him. He spoke of how Muhammad called people to monotheism, justice, compassion, and righteousness. How he taught that every person is accountable before Allah for their deeds and intentions. How Muhammad preached that true piety lies not in asceticism, but in the harmonious combination of spiritual and worldly affairs. Listening to the young man, the monk was struck by the wisdom and depth of his judgments. He understood that before him was indeed an exceptional person, possessing true knowledge. The monk was imbued with respect for the Prophet Muhammad and his teachings. After bidding farewell to the young man, the stranger continued on his way. But in his heart, a spark of faith in the one God was forever kindled, and the understanding that true human happiness lies in the harmonious combination of spiritual and worldly affairs, as well as in reliance on the Almighty and following His will. This parable teaches us that true righteousness lies not in asceticism and self-mortification, but in the reasonable combination of spiritual and worldly affairs, in faith in the Almighty Allah and reliance on His will. It shows how the Prophet Muhammad, may the blessings of Allah be upon him, guided people to the path of true faith and piety.